Periods. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Sam.K. Parenting. Periods can be a pain in the uterus. From cramps to sore legs, tiredness, and everything in between, periods can be annoying. But not many people ever talk about the good things that come with periods. In today's video, we're lifting the covers on all the good things, all the bad things, and unfortunately, even the ugly things about periods. Hello, and welcome to my channel, where we share tips and tricks for parents, tweens, and teens. If this is your first time here, make sure to turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on our weekly updates. Now, let's jump straight in. Menstruation is normal, period. Your period goes by many names: your menstrual cycle, the rag, your time of the month, and my personal favorite, a visit from Auntie Flo. But it's completely normal and one of the final steps before becoming a fully fledged woman. You also might have some questions, and no easy way to ask them, so we'll try and answer them for you. So, what is a period? A period is a release of blood from a female's uterus that then exits through her vagina. It's part of a normal cycle, the menstrual cycle, which usually takes around 28 days. Why so much blood, you may wonder? Relax, it may look like a lot, but for most girls, they only lose a few tablespoons of blood over their entire period. When will I get mine? Most girls get their first period when they're around 12, but for some girls as young as 10 and as old as 15 for the first time. While there's no set time, most girls will get their first period roughly 2 years after their breasts begin to develop. Why is this happening to me? All girls will eventually go through it, and it's because of some very important changes in our bodies. As a woman, your period is your body's way of releasing tissue that it no longer needs. Every month, your body prepares for the possibility of pregnancy by lining the walls of the uterus. An egg is released and awaits fertilization before settling in the thickened lining of your uterus. If the egg is not fertilized, which should be the case for most teen girls, your body no longer needs the thicker lining of the uterus. The body then breaks the lining down and expels it, along with some blood from your vagina. This is your period, and once it's over, the process starts all over again. How long does a period last? On average, periods usually last around 5 days, but it's not uncommon to be several days shorter or longer. Will I have periods for life? Thankfully, menstruation isn't a death sentence. We get a few breaks in our lifetime. One is when we fall pregnant. Periods pause during pregnancy and start back up again afterwards. The second is much later, around the ages 45 to 55, in a process called menopause, where our periods stop for good. So, having your period means you can get pregnant? That's right. A period is a sign of reproductive maturity, and a girl that has her period can fall pregnant through sex. I think it's important to say here that if you're watching this video and you're either expecting your period or have only recently got it for the first time, sex and pregnancy should be the absolute last thing on your mind. Feminine hygiene products. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's look at what you would need when you start your period. Tampons and pads are two of the most common menstrual products, and there is an unending debate about which is better for your time of month. Tampons. Tampons are cylindrical vagina inserts made out of cotton, rayon, or a mix of both materials. They can be inserted into your vagina with your hands or with an applicator. Once inside your vagina, they absorb blood and prevent any leaking onto underwear or clothes. When you're ready to take it out, you can pull on the dangling string that's attached to the base. Tampons are currently the most popular menstrual product, with around 70% of women choosing to use them over other methods. There are two types of tampons: disposable and reusable. However, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, advises against reusable tampons as they are more likely to cause fungal, yeast, or bacterial infections. You should also never leave a tampon inserted for longer than 8 hours to avoid conditions like toxic shock syndrome. So, what are some benefits of using a tampon during our period? One of the biggest advantages the tampon has over pads and other menstrual products is its size. Tampons are small and portable. You can easily slip them into your pocket or a purse and carry them around regularly in case your period ever sneaks up on you. Tampons are one of the few menstrual hygiene products you can swim with. When compared to a bulky pad, which will soak up water and move around with exercise, a tampon is discreet and unaffected by swimming or other strenuous activity. Another advantage tampons have over pads is that they are invisible. Pads are bulky, unflattering, and can be seen if you wear tight or revealing clothing. Tampons, on the other hand, can't be seen, and when inserted properly, can barely be felt. So, that's the pro column. Are there any disadvantages when using tampons? Tampons are harder to use than menstrual pads, which only need to be stuck on your underwear. However, if you carefully follow the directions on the box, the initial discomfort should become a lot easier over time. Some tampons also come with applicators that make insertion easier. Nevertheless, inserting them can be difficult, especially when you are using them for the first time. Tampons are more likely to irritate and dry out your vagina than menstrual pads. The longer you have your tampon in, the more likely it is to irritate your vagina or cause an infection, like a UTI. For this reason, tampons are not recommended for overnight use. One of the biggest disadvantages of using tampons is the risk of developing toxic shock syndrome, TSS. This is rare but potentially life-threatening condition that develops when the bacteria in your vagina overgrows as a result of the tampon in it. Around 0.8 to 3.4 people out of 100,000 are estimated to get TSS in the U.S. Symptoms of TSS include diarrhea, vomiting, fever, and weakness. To reduce the risk of this condition developing, it is important to change your tampon every 3 to 4 hours. Using a low absorbency tampon also further reduces your risk. Pads. Most menstrual pads are made of absorbent material like cotton and superabsorbent polymer. They are designed to stick onto your underwear and come in different sizes for heavy and light periods. How often you change your pad depends on how heavy your flow is, but a good rule of thumb is to change it every 3 to 4 hours. What are some of the advantages of using a menstrual pad? Women and girls who have heavy periods have to change their menstrual hygiene product more often than others. Changing pads many times in a day is much easier than tampons. Pads are easier to use than tampons. They are also especially great for overnight use. You can use them overnight without worrying about having to get up in the middle of the night to change it. When your pad is full, all you need to do is take a peek at it to know when to change it, unlike tampons that have to be removed before checking. There is almost no risk of developing TSS when using menstrual pads. Studies show that the risk of developing TSS is lower in women who use menstrual pads than in women who use tampons. As for most things, there are also a few disadvantages for using pads. These include: while pads can be worn for most activities, you can't swim in them. They are likely to get soaked with water and become dislodged from your underwear, which can be a very uncomfortable experience. Under certain types of clothing, pads can be visible. Not that this is anything to be ashamed about, but for people who would prefer a more discreet option, tampons might be the way to go. Once tampons are inserted, they are unlikely to move. Pads can shift out of place and can cause you to stain your clothes. At the end of the day, choosing between tampons and pads comes down to what your personal preferences are. There is no textbook answer. Whatever is the most effective, comfortable, convenient, and appropriate for you will always be the best decision. Is PMS really a thing? Getting your period also means your emotions may vary from feeling happy the one moment, angry or sad the next. This is called PMS. According to doctors, PMS, or premenstrual syndrome, is when a girl has emotional and physical symptoms that happen before or during her period. This can present in a variety of ways, from irritability, moodiness, anxiety, and sadness, all the way to exhaustion, bloating, and acne. So, while it is a thing, not everyone experiences these symptoms in the same order or intensity. We're also stereotyped a lot by men who like to link any emotional outburst to our periods. Not cool. Luckily, after a few days, the symptoms fade away. Another symptom you may experience during your period are tummy cramps. Most girls experience some cramping through their periods, especially in the first few days. It can range from mild discomfort all the way through to quite painful in some circumstances. Painkillers can usually take the edge off, as well as applying heat pads or hot water bottles to your belly. Any cramps that cause intense pain or last longer than a few days, you should always get checked out by a doctor. This is it for today's video. We hope you learned more about your menstrual cycle and what to expect from your period. If you found this video helpful, please click on the like button and share with anyone you may think can benefit from this information. And don't forget to leave us a comment. Until next time, thank you for watching.